Psychological principle of learning. Psychologists have devoted considerable effort to the experimental study of learning. Certain factors that can facilitate or hinder learning have been uncovered. Some concerned with characteristics of the learner, and other with how the training program and materials to be taught should be organized and presented. Their experiences do not directly relate to most jobs. Therefore, any generalization of research finding and principles must be made with caution. The principle of learning have served as general guidelines but not as specific rules. Psychologists often define learning as the relative permanent change in behavior as a result of experience. The psychology of learning focuses on the range of the topic related to how people learn and interact with their environment. Next is individual differences in ability. Individual differences in training ability can be predicted through the miniature training and evaluation approach, a technique that has been used with success to predict performance in training programs in a variety of occupations. Other techniques have also been used to predict performance in training programs, tests of cognitive ability, life history measures, altitude tests, and performance in initial training as a predictor of performance in a later training. Abilities are cognitive or mental characteristics that affect one's potential to learn or to perform. Individual differences are found in all psychological characteristics, physical mental abilities, knowledge, habit, personality, and character traits. Next is motivation. The motivation or desire to learn is of utmost importance in training. Learning will not take place unless the person really wants to learn, and this is true regardless of ability. To some degree, a high level of motivation can compensate for a somewhat lower level of ability. Motivation is a process that initiates, guides, and maintains goal-oriented behaviors. It is what causes you to act, whether it is getting a glass of water to reduce thirst or reading a book to gain knowledge. Motivation involves the biological, emotional, social, and cognitive forces that activate behavior. Case study method. The case study method developed by the Harvard School of Business. It frequently used in executive training programs. The trainees are expected to familiarize themselves truly with the case and to find or their own additional relevant information. The purpose of the case study method is to teach trainees the skills of group problem solving and decision making, the ability to analyze and criticize their own conception and interpretation, and the ability to be amenable to point of view other than their own. The case study method is the learning techniques in which the student is faced the particular problems. The case study facilitate the exploration of real issue within a defined context using the variety of data sources. For example, a group of individuals might be watched over an extended period of time to observe the progressive of a particular disease. Next is business game. This approach in intended primarily to develop problem solving and decision making skills to provide practice in exercising these skills in a situation which mistakes will not harm the organization. Several hundred business games are available. They differ in terms of their complexity and how realistically they stimulate the operation of business organization. There are two types of business game, the top management game and the functional games. In-basket training. An in-basket test or an in-basket exercise in a test used by companies or government in hiring and promoting employees. During the test, job applicants receive a number of mails, telephone calls, documents, and memos. Example of in-basket item might include memos, correspondence, emails, directives, requests, reports, forms, messages, minutes, handwritten notes, etc. From management, supervisors, staff members, inmates, and other stakeholders. Role-playing. Role-playing is an active learning technique in which employees act out situations under the guidance of a trainer, in which scenario employees take on a role and act out the scenes as though it were real. The trainer and the other participants can then give feedbacks to the role players. Role-playing is the changing of one's behavior to assume a role, either unconsciously or to fill the social role, or consciously to act out an adapted role. In psychology and education, role-playing is an educational tool that is used to visualize and practice different ways of handling a situation. Behavior modeling. Behavior modeling is widely used for interpersonal skills training, and it is a common component of many management training programs. The approach is based on Bandera's social learning theory. Behavior modeling typically involves 5 steps: modeling, intention, rehearsal, feedbacks, and transfer of training. In an approach used by companies to better understanding and predict consumers' action. Behavioral modeling uses available consumer and business spending data and estimate future behavior in specific circumstances. According to the theory, we learn not only by doing but by watching what others do. Therapeutically, behavior modeling is often used to help clients change previously learned negative behaviors. Sensitivity training. Sensitivity training, psychological techniques in which intensive group discussion and interaction are used to increase individual awareness of self and others. It is practiced in a variety of forms under such name as T-group, encounters group, human relation, and group dynamics training. Sensitivity training is a psychological technique in which intensive group discussion and interaction are used to increase individual awareness of self and others. It helps ensure the employees understand the behavior expectation of the organization code of conduct and policies and practices to prevent discrimination, harassment, bullying, and other misconduct. Career development and planning. In career development and planning, refers to the process an individual may undergo to involve their occupational status. It is the process of making decisions for long-term learning to align personal needs of physical or psychological fulfillment with career advancement opportunities. It is important to come up with your career planning as it gives you the much needed direction and make it clear there where you can see yourself in the future. It make you aware of your strengths and weaknesses and the skills and knowledge that are required to achieve your goals in the future. 3 career stages. First is the establishment stage. The first stage of an individual career is called establishment. During this first stage, a person learns the basic elements of the job and where they fit within an organization. The approximate age range of this stage varies from 21 to 26 years of age. The second is the maintenance stage. Maintenance is the stage people have sustained their behavior change for a while and intend to maintain the behavior change going forward. People in this stage work to prevent relapse to earlier stages. And the last is the stage of decline. The decline stage of the product life cycle is the one where the product ultimately dies due to the law of negative growth rate in sales. Decline stage of the product life cycle is the terminal stage where sales drop and production is ultimately hated. Next is training the hardcore unemployed. Hardcore unemployed refers to an unemployed among individuals who have been jobless for a long time. These people are also the least likely to find or want job. We often use the term colloquially and includes people who have never have full-time jobs. Evaluating training and development program. The main purpose of evaluating a training program is to gain knowledge about whether it has achieved or failed in objectives. Analyzing the training event by using appropriate evaluation tools can improve the outcome of future training to the considerable extent. Evaluate how the training have influenced the learner's performance and deliver at work by using a combination of this method: the self-assessment questionnaires, informal feedbacks from peer and managers, focus group, on-the-job observation, actual job performance, key performance indicators. And thank you.